And like I said, I can also see the chat. Once I see that people are start tuning in, then typically what I do is just introduce the show, encourage people to tune into the different channels, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff.
All right.
All right, I can see that we're live.
And do you, if people ask questions, do you pose those questions?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
If I see them, I'll bring them up and we'll talk about them. I don't see all of the questions all of the time, and I don't know why. It has to do with Facebook.
Okay.
But if I see them come in and people are participating with the show, then I'll certainly let you know what's going on.
Okay, cool.
And I can see people are starting to join in, and as soon as we get some watchers, it'll start to snowball. So I see that people are watching.
Is that on a certain page?
Yeah, I'm going to introduce that right now. Okay. So right now we're live on Facebook, Matt Green at Glocker Real Estate. We're also live on YouTube at Porchcast Pottstown. I can see that people are watching on YouTube and people are watching on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because the more people that subscribe to the channel, the more your YouTube will show our videos, and it'll help us get out the positive word about everything that's going on in Pottstown. Today we're at Red Horse Motoring Club with Chuck Harders. That's you.
Yo, what's up? What's happening?
People will be noticing that Amy isn't on the show today. Amy got her second, what's it called? Shingles. Her second shingles vaccination really knocked the wind out of her sails. All right. So we were initially planning on being here. And then we decided we'd go back to our Porchcast set, to the porch, because Amy wanted to be inside because she's got some family that she doesn't want to put in jeopardy.
Right.
And then Amy texted me this afternoon and said, this second vaccine for the shingles has got me knocked down.
Kicking her butt.
Kicking my butt. I can't be on the show today. So then I called you and I was like, guess what?
Let's go.
We're back at Red Horse Motoring Club.
Nice.
So Amy's tuned into the show. She's feeling a bit crummy, so hope you feel better soon, Amy.
Hello, Amy.
Chris Golden is tuned in. Chris Golden is our financial advisor to the show. Joe Rusevich is the executive director of the Foundation for Pottstown Education. And we have a lot of people who contribute to society tuning into the show, watching the show.
Nice.
Everybody's interested about all the things that are going on in the community, and that's why we have you on here today, right? The Red Horse Motoring Club, and the address here is 132?
Yep, East 3rd Street.
132 East 3rd Street. Yep. People in Pottstown will recognize it as the old Ludwig's Motors.
Yep. I don't know if they can see the sign. The sign's
they can
right there.
see the sign. It should be almost right in this top center of their screen.
Yeah, that was in the attic when we took over the building. We pulled that out with a bunch of other really cool stuff from the 70-year history here that we still have. Yeah, it's good stuff.
And this place was it empty or getting ready to be empty when you bought it?
No,
there was an auction house.
Yeah, it was auction house. Yeah,
right.
So he was in here and doing auctions, and he was here for several years. I don't know how many years, but he's a great guy. He's a member here, and he's just an awesome guy. And we bought the building from him, and when we can start talking about how that all became, and when we decided to start Red Horse here in Pottstown, my partners Dan Glenn and Steve Everett had their eye on this building.
Okay.
Because it's an awesome building.
Yep.
It was built right.
Solid.
It's solid. The foundation's incredible, and so they had their eyes on it, and they kept talking to the owner, and then we put a deal together, and then we started Red Horse here, But yeah, in the beginning, when we started the kind of renovation, we had to redo everything, of course. I found a lot of really cool stuff, and old salesman plaques, salesman of the month plaques and different stuff from all the years going back. And this was an incredible dealership that lasted 70-something years, 1922, I think, to 1999.
It was in the 90s when it closed.
Yeah, in the 90s when it closed, opened in 22. So they had quite a run as a neighborhood, dealership, which really they're no more in America. All the dealerships have moved to the giant malls, and so there's a lot of buildings like this around America that are just sitting there empty, and giant old incredible industrial buildings that and maybe we'll talk about it later. Our second club that we're working on in another town is another old Dodge dealership. This was Dodge Chrysler, and they went through a few different years of different stuff, but I think they were always Chrysler Dodge, and our second building's Dodge too, so it's pretty neat.
That's cool. I think Pottstown's lucky because we had on the show before Nick Yanessa from Wheels in Motion.
Oh, yeah.
And Nick and his family bought the old Dame Chevrolet building.
Exactly.
And then turned that into Wheels in Motion, so they're doing auto repair and auto body there.
Yep.
Nick's working on getting his dealer license so he can sell some cars.
Yep.
So we're lucky here in Pottstown that two of our neighborhood car dealerships are now open and used and repurposed.
Still in the car community.
Still in the car community.
Yeah, I love it.
So that's kind of neat. So for the people that don't know, this is a social club, right?
Yeah.
So why don't you bring some people who are watching up to speed on how you guys came up with the idea, the purpose of the social club, how can somebody become a member, get involved, etc.?
So it all began, I've had the idea in my head for probably 10, 12 years. I was active duty up until 2016.
Okay.
So I did 30 years in the Navy, but the whole time, half of the time I was in the Navy, I was an antique dealer. I've always been a collector and an antiquer.
Okay.
And so in my realm of antiques, which is this stuff, old gas pumps and signs and neons and what we call automobilia or petroliana, I had been decorating buildings like this for wealthy Americans,
Gotcha.
kind of, wealthy car guys.
Right.
So I'd do decorations like this for great buildings, but they were all private, and, that family got to enjoy it, of course.
Right.
Because they're doing well in life, but nobody else would see it.
Gotcha.
And I always had in my head, like, how could someone do this where...
How could you bring it to the everyman?
Other people could enjoy it, right?
Right,
The guy that can't go out and buy $1 million building. And I kind of so it was just in my head for a long time. And again, like I said, I was active duty, deploying all the time. So I certainly couldn't do anything like that in life. But I always thought after I retired, maybe I could do something like this. And so I kind of went through a bunch of different scenarios of how that could work. And we landed on, after much discussions with a lot of my successful clients who are really, really successful businessmen and women, we came up with the kind of membership-based club, and that's what Red Horse is today. So by coincidence, I was working out of the Pentagon for my last tour and coming home to see my girl here, Trish, and just by coincidence, a lot of this stuff was in storage units and garages, and
you're talking about the decorations and stuff.
Yeah,
and people can see some of that stuff.
Yeah,
in the
everything
background.
in here is my personal collection. So, I had all this stuff all over the darn place, and by coincidence, Trish, my wife's neighbor, Steve, his name's Steve Everett. He's now my partner. He's what I call a young kid. He's 30,
right,
young to me.
Yeah.
And he went to school with Trish's daughter. So I got introduced to him because I needed storage units, and we hit it off immediately. I immediately sensed that this was a really squared away young man, and he was a go-getter and realtor and rehabbing houses.
Right.
So we hit it off immediately, and over time, I got to know him really well, and he knew my idea of Red Horse. And him and his partner, Dan Glennon, were doing a lot of things up here in Pottstown, and still are. They own J.J. Radikins and Stave and Stable and Sizzle in the Farmers Market, and they're working on another project in the New Yorker called Rivet. So they're just like kicking butt up here and doing a lot in this town.
Right.
And Steve came back to me and said, "Hey, let's do Red Horse up in Pottstown." And to be honest, I don't know that I'd ever even heard of the word Pottstown before.
Okay.
Right? Like I know nothing about.
You're a Delco guy, right?
I'm a Delco guy, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I grew up in Delco in Essington on the river, and like we talked about before, woke up every
swimming
morning
in the river,
swimming in the gorgeous Delaware River every day. And
well, I used to swim in the Schuylkill.
Oh,
so
did you?
babe, we have that in common, right? Now,
Yeah.
people often question whether or not my decisions have any long-term effects, just
Right.
like yours,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. Well, you ended up a competitive swimmer.
I did.
I ended up a rescue swimmer.
So in some ways, it paid off.
It prepared us
Yes.
to swim in the sludge every day. Paid off. I'm Delco, so I never heard of Pottstown. I'd never been here before in my life. Never drove past here. Know nothing about it.
Right.
But Steve and Dan were doing a lot up here, and they said, "Hey, let's do this here. This town's ready for it, and
Right.
the car community is amazing up there." and
Yeah,
blah,
I mean,
blah, blah. And so I came up
long history of car
Oh,
stuff.
my God,
I mean, we
amazing
could
history
do
of
a
the car
whole
show.
show just on Pottstown car history.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I came up and started doing my research, and long story short, we said, "Yeah, let's do it." And they brought me to this building, and this building's incredible. So it happened, and I'm so glad that it did. And I feel like we're starting to be an integral part of the community here, with our efforts with the car show and being here, and
Right.
a lot of North Coventry and all the people that live around here that are members.
Right.
We're approaching 190 members here at Red Horse, but and they're all local people right here that grew
Yeah.
up here, and I think almost everyone that's a member here went to high school, one of these high schools here, and so this is their town.
Yeah.
And this is their club. I mean, that's the concept.
So if somebody wants to become a member, how would they go about doing that? I'm sure you have a website and social media pages. You
Yep.
want to throw that information out there so people can find
Sure.
you?
Yeah, the first thing I would say, if you want to become a member, come on in and meet us.
Okay.
Right, see what
Right.
we're all about, check out the space.
Mhm.
And then of course my manager Cliff will take care of you and give you applications and all that stuff. But if you want to follow us, we're on Instagram at Red Horse Motoring and Facebook at Red Horse Motoring. And you can follow us and hear stuff about the club or the car shows, etc. But I think a lot of people initially don't understand what the club is. Like, a lot of guys think, well, it's a car club, and the typical car club out there is really just a paper club. Like, you're the part of the Porsche Club of America or something, and you're just a name on a list, and it's $45 a year or whatever, and you meet at the Dunkin' Donuts when they have a little meetup and all.
Yes.
This is not that. This is something completely different. And
Right. You're a literal brick and mortar club.
yeah, you're a brick and mortar. So my dream and concept was for like-minded people, men and women. This is not a men's club. It's a club for men and women. We have female members here.
Yeah, one of the regular watchers of the show, Brooke Martin, who's also
Yeah,
the president
yeah.
of the Pottstown Rotary. She is a member here. I've been her guest here at Red Horse Motoring
There you
Club
go.
on several different occasions.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I can vouch for the fact that for some of the events that I've been at, I think maybe the women even outnumbered some of the men, depending on what was going
What was
on and
going
depending
on.
organization. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But I would say it's a pretty mixed crowd, all ages.
It is.
All different colors, persuasions.
Oh yeah,
everything
we
else.
have it all. We are inclusive to the entire footprint of humanity here, and that's the way it should be.
Right.
And really, we're really inclusive to the entire footprint of the car world, and that's important to me because the car world is such a funny world, and everyone is so separated. Like, no, I'm a Porsche guy. I'm a hot rodder.
I'm a Ford man.
I'm
right.
a Ford man,
Yeah.
Chevy sucks, whatever, like I don't care about any of that. If 10 guys are here, I hope a hot rodder sitting beside a Lamborghini owner, sitting beside you know what I mean?
Yeah.
An old school pre-war guy sitting beside what the heck ever, a biker.
Right.
It's all motors, it's all cool stuff, it's all fun, and that's really what I want. I want like-minded individuals hanging out and having fun and hopefully being a positive part of the community.
Right.
And so that's what we're trying to do here, and it's fun. And Brooke's been with us for a long time. She's one of the, I think she might be in the number 20 or below in the member numbers.
One of the first members of the club.
Yeah, and she's one of those crazy bicycle. I
Yeah.
call her a biker, but then
Right,
you'd think she owns a Harley, but she's a literal biker on her bicycle, and she goes out for a 100-mile bicycle ride and then pulls up here for a drink. But she's awesome, and yes, so we are not a men's club in any way whatsoever, and never will be. But that's us. So then I was kind of talking about the membership. So you're not just a piece of paper, a name on a piece of paper. This is something totally different. You literally join, you get a key, to the building. This now building is yours. You have 12,000 square feet of building to have corporate parties, to have family get-togethers, to hang out and not be in the public if you want just some quiet time.
Right.
A lot of our members work on a laptop, come in for a few hours a day and grab a spot in the club and get some work done. A lot of guys use this as a base to host clients. You know, I don't care what you sell. This is a cool place to host a client. You know, especially if you're like a vacuum salesman or something that's really not real fun.
Right.
You bring them here, and this is a lot funner.
You can jazz it up a little bit.
You can jazz it up a little bit.
Right,
yeah.
right.
So that's kind of what we offer. Right now, our membership is initial fee is $100, and it's $125 a month to be a member. I think we're just at 190 members, I think. And I'd say to anyone, if you're actually thinking about being a member, the best thing to do is the first Thursday of the month, which is actually in 2 nights. The first Thursday of the month is our member social, where a lot of the members come in. And I've pulled like a lot. I'm an officer in the military, so we do all these wacky things, right, in the military. But one of the great things you do in the wardroom as an officer is you do what we call hail and farewells. And officers that are leaving, you say farewell and you talk about them and what they've accomplished, and and talk about where they're going next. And then you hail the officers coming into the wardroom. And we kind of do that here. And I hail all the new members. So at each member social, in the last month, whoever's joined, we upstairs, we hail them and we get to know them, and I pull them up and introduce them and talk to them and mess with them and have fun and really kind of get to know them, so that right off the bat the members understand who this person is, and you try to get a name to the face. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah.
I'm horrible at that.
It's networking.
It's networking.
Yeah,
100%.
for sure.
Yeah,
100.
Yeah, and another thing you touched on was it's a mature kind of crowd. The one thing that we don't have is we don't have members under 25.
Okay.
They're allowed to come as guests, but they're not allowed to be members. So
I gotcha.
25 and older for membership, and there's a plethora of reasons for that.
Right, right.
This is very much an honor system kind of club. And
I was just going to get into that. You have a very high level of responsibility. So
yes.
What I've understood when I come in here is that the bar is stocked and everything for your manager. Your club dues pay for the drinks and the refreshments that are upstairs.
Right.
When there's a bartender here, you're expected to tip the bartender.
Right.
And if you get a drink and there's no bartender here, you help yourself, you clean up after yourself.
Exactly.
And you leave a little bit of money or a little bit of tip, because at the end of the day, the next manager or next bartender comes in, has to clean up after you.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a unique atmosphere, and I like a mature crowd, and I'm not saying there's not great 22-year-olds out there.
Sure, because there are. Right.
There absolutely is. I wasn't one of them. I'll just tell you that right now. You did not want me in an atmosphere like this when I was 22.
Gotcha. Right.
I was a maniac. So I'm the reason that I do this.
Right.
I'm
basing it off yourself.
Based on myself. Right. So that is the reason. But again, there are great young men and women under 25, but you have to wait till you hit that 25th birthday to become a member.
Yeah, and you're getting some shout outs. Sean from We Are Investing is saying that it's a great atmosphere and he likes the club. He's saying hello.
Awesome.
Kathy Phillips Skitko from the Hill School and Hobart's Run is saying hello.
Yeah. Hey, Kathy.
I know for a fact that I've interacted with Kathy right here in this place. And then also, I put up the slideshow. So that was a bunch of different pictures that you showed me of the inside of the show, the outside of, the inside of the club, the outside of the club.
Yep.
And just to show some of the cars that are here, some of the memorabilia that is here. I've probably been to Red Horse now for one reason or another at the very least half a dozen times, maybe getting on 10 or even 12 times.
Nice.
I've always had a good time when I was here. I've been here with the Rotary, the Tri-County Chamber of Commerce. I've been here for a couple of private parties, and I've been invited in to hang out by some of the members.
Nice.
Always had a good experience here.
Good.
and it's a nice place. I like it because it's in my neighborhood. It's only a block and a half away.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't have to worry about driving.
Yeah.
If I did help myself to a few refreshments,
Right.
it's good. And I would say this too, before we get into some of the stuff that you do for the community, I do want to wrap up about some of the not necessarily the antiques, but just the decor in here. So right now on the screen, it's showing a picture of the semicircle couches that you guys have.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
my favorite place to hang when I'm here.
That's
I
the
like
spot.
that. That's
Yeah.
the spot for me.
Yeah.
But I wanted to also talk about the bar because
Yeah.
one of the neat stories is about where the bar and some of the wood
All
to
the wood.
build that upstairs bar came from.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
want to get
Yeah.
into that a little
No,
bit?
I
It's
love
a
it.
neat story.
Yeah, so the upstairs is the main bar, and it's a nice space. It's a big space, and Trish and I did the whole room, decorated the whole room, and so going through like how when you start out this, how's this going to feel? I want a complete separation from the downstairs. Really, I didn't want. We had initially thought, oh, let's just line up gas pumps up there and neon signs, and I was just like not feeling it.
Right.
Even though it was all my stuff, I just was like, no, I want a more
It might have
chilled
looked
atmosphere.
much more like a museum
Right,
than a
exactly.
place to chill out, right?
Yeah. So I wanted really just a mellow, nice atmosphere. So we put almost nothing like this up there. And then a guy I know, John Doherty, he's down in Collingdale. He deals in wood, in rare wood, and which is really big right now. Salvage and
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, people are decking out really serious spaces with a lot of wood, and he had gotten a lot. So I went down and he did some work on my sister's house. So that's how I knew him. And I said, man, I want early, good wood,
Yeah.
I don't want it touched. I want it original.
Right.
We're not going to do nothing to it. And I was a little naive at that whole process, but he had a lot of wood that he got from a carriage house in Philly off of Broad Street.
Yeah, this is the story
And
that I
It was
like.
giant, man. It was a huge carriage house built in 1862.
Okay.
And it took him, I think if my memory serves me properly, it took him 33 18-wheelers filled with the wood from this one carriage house on
Okay.
Broad Street.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
So then he took it back to his giant building in Collingdale. And him and several employees worked on just separating and organized the wood for a year before they sold any of it. And then I bought a chunk of the wood for the upstairs. And so every piece of wood upstairs is from 1862, except for the bar kick, right, where your feet's at when you're sitting at the bar.
Yeah.
There's one singular piece that he pulled out of a building at the University of Pennsylvania that was 1810.
Wow.
Yeah, so the bar kick is from 1810,
Uh-huh.
and then every single other piece in the entire room is 1862.
62.
And at that time, when you talk to John, he really wraps your head around this stuff. At that time, that was probably, because of the size of the planks, was probably 300 to 400 year old.
Yeah, it was
wood.
old growth timber.
It's old growth timber. So you're looking at probably 500-600 year old wood that's upstairs.
That's awesome.
It's incredible.
And it's here. It landed in Pottstown.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's here. And so even the bar top where you sit your arms when you're enjoying the bar, even that giant beam was from the same building, everything. So that was a really fun project. And then Trish and I went out and we really wanted high-end club feel. And once you start looking at the furniture, that stuff, like you said, that circle sofa, you're talking about big money, right?
Right.
Like a Chesterfield. I have 2 Chesterfields up there.
Okay.
A quality Chesterfield is $8,000 to $12,000.
Okay.
And we're starting this whole project here, and I cannot afford that kind of, you know what I mean?
Right.
So what we did is we hunted premium used stuff.
Okay.
And that's how we sourced every single thing up there was not new,
Right.
but mint, original,
condition.
and some other guy paid 10 grand for the sofa
Right, to break it in.
to break it in, or not even, right?
Yeah, right.
Like hardly broken in, and
Yeah.
then I went and got it for $1,500 or whatever, in that day.
Well, I mean, it does kind of circle back to what you were saying when we first started the show. Really your concept here is to bring a very high-end, elite feeling place or club to the everyman. I mean, $125 a month is really reachable kind of membership
Right.
for even your average Joe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Can
Right.
afford to do that.
Right.
And have some perks and some benefits that they might not get with another type of club, including being able to sit on $8,000 and $10,000 chairs
Right.
and couches, right?
Right, yeah.
You can come here and watch the game, bring your friends from out of town,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And one of the fun things talking about games is I put, I just have all these crazy ideas, and then my partner Dan, who's a lawyer, is like, no, but I got the outside movie theater done. So out on the outside wall, I don't know if you've ever been to one of the nights, but every night Eagles game,
I've never been to one of these. No.
Oh yeah, so the nighttime Eagles games on the outside wall, we have a 15-foot THX certified screen, and we do the games outside. We light a little bonfire, and we have music and watch the game out there. So it's super cool. It's kind of like you're down at the game, outside tailgating. So that's kind of a fan favorite for the members here.
Sure, absolutely. And one more thing, I just want to get some people, because now we've kind of got them excited. One more time. So which Thursday of the month is it that they can come in and kind of see the club?
The member social?
Yeah,
is
the members.
First Thursday of the month.
First Thursday of every month,
yeah.
You can come down here to Red Horse and get a kind of a glimpse of what you'd be getting into as a member.
Exactly.
And again, you can follow them on social media at Red Horse Motoring, Instagram, Facebook. You can also find them on the web.
Yep.
I went to their website and their Facebook page. They're easy to find. Just type in Red Horse Motoring and it'll pop right up.
Yep.
If you really want to get specific, Red Horse Motoring Pottstown, it'll bring you right to their pages.
Yeah. So the first Thursday's in 2 nights.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody's watching and you haven't been here yet, or you want to come in and meet us and see what we're all about, the social starts at 7:30 p.m. and just come on in and introduce yourself and see what we're all about.
There you go. So one of the things that you guys are all about, and we know this because your buddy Mike Murphy
Yep.
came on the show to talk about Veterans Island. You've mentioned it yourself. You're a 30-year veteran of the Navy.
Yep.
One of the things that you're doing, in addition to trying to raise awareness about your club and restore an old historic building here in Pottstown, is you're also reaching out to the community and doing some things to support the revitalization of Pottstown.
Yep.
So why don't you get into that? I think the first thing we should talk about is the car show.
Okay.
Because we just had that.
Yeah, we just had
I
it
was
Saturday.
down there.
Yeah.
So start off with the car show and then
Okay.
just give people a little bit of an idea about the different things that you're doing to help support Pottstown.
Okay. Well, first with the car show, it just happened Saturday. We had awesome car customizer Rob Ida here with
Yeah.
his whole family and team. And
So how did you get him here? Because this guy's a world famous car designer.
yeah, he's pretty
right?
serious, right?
Yeah.
Literally, like Ford Motor Company calls him and his dad and talks about projects before they pull the trigger. I mean, he's that level of a guy.
Right.
And he's won SEMA. If for the car people out there, SEMA's the giant car show of the year out in Vegas, and he's won Best at Show at SEMA. That car was here Saturday.
Okay.
The 40 Mercury, the blue, gorgeous blue.
That's
40
the blue
Mercury.
one that you see in the slideshow, and it's got wheel cowls over the first and the front and back wheels.
Exactly. Articulating wheel
Wheel
cowls.
cowls.
So
Oh,
when
wow.
the car turns, the cowls
Cows
turn-
move with it.
Yeah, it's really it's an incredible car. So so Rob Ida, he's huge. Through my network of friends with the antiques, I had mentioned to a guy named Al Wester who was here. He drove up from the Carolinas with 2 cars, and just by coincidence, I was talking to him about everything here. He's a smart businessman and very successful, and we were talking one day on the phone, and I said, man, I really need a home run to start out the show season for the Pottstown Nights Car Show. I really
Right.
want to hit it big on right out of the gates. And he said, well, what about Rob Ida? And I went, yeah, I don't know Rob Ida, man. I've never met him. And, he goes, well, he's built 2 cars for me. I know him.
No kidding.
I went, yes. Call him now,
Yeah, right,
get him on the
right.
phone. So he said, all right, let me talk to him. And I'll tell you what, Rob Ida doesn't have to do anything for anybody. He's that level of guy, and you can't meet a nicer guy and nicer family. And, right from the get-go, he was like, let's do it. So,
Right.
So we set it up, and he brought 6 cars, Rob Ida built cars.
Okay.
Which is kind of amazing, and 4 huge trailers out that came from all over the country with cars, and we had a blast. We had a VIP party here Friday night for him, and just like at the social membership I told you, social night, we brought him up and had a Q&A with him and all the members, and it's open. That was open to the public Friday, so there was people upstairs and just throwing questions out and talking about cars and how he got started, and it was really super cool. And then Saturday did the car show all day, which the turnout was,
unbelievable,
a blowout. It was unreal. We were, unfortunately,
do you know how many cars you had off the top of your head? It seemed to me that it might have been one of the biggest shows as far as the amount of cars.
Some of the guys that have been doing it for a long time said they've never seen it filled like that.
Right.
One guy came up to me and said he counted nearly 1,000 cars.
Right.
I didn't. I was too busy getting stuff done and taking care of business. But you're talking 5, 6 city blocks filled, both sides, and then we lined them up down the center.
Yeah, on Hanover Street.
And that went all the way back to Manatawny, and
then so you had Manatawny to Evans.
To Charlotte or Evans? Which one's farther?
I think it was Evans is farther than Charlotte.
Okay, then Evans.
You went past Charlotte.
Okay,
you were out to Evans.
Yeah, because they want Evans open.
And then from King down to Queen Street on Hanover.
Yeah, and we were just mob full every block. It was awesome.
So that's people are going to say, oh, well, what does the car show do for Pottstown, right? Well, let me explain it to you from a business perspective, right? I'm a businessman.
Right.
The car show brought in a few thousand people to your town
easily,
who are going to get hungry.
Yep.
So they're going to go to a restaurant and get something to eat. They're going to be thirsty. They're going to go get something to drink.
Yep.
Their gas tank's going to run low, so they're going to have to stop by the gas tank to top off before they go home, back wherever they came.
Exactly.
Some people are coming as far away as the Carolinas to come to this thing.
Yep.
So there's a potential that they're staying in hotel rooms or bed and breakfast rooms in Pottstown.
Yep.
So what does the car show do for Pottstown? It brings in thousands and thousands of dollars of revenue to the local businesses.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, I walked down and looked at the Iron Gate Beer Garden.
Yeah.
The Alley Beer Garden. They were packed. Full. JJ Radikins, I think, had a 2-hour wait. I couldn't even, my partner owns it, and I couldn't
get a table.
I couldn't get a table. I didn't even try to call him. One, I'm not that guy. But two, and me and I was starving. My wife always beats me up because I never eat. Yeah. And then prepping for this, and then
I'm the same way, dude. I start getting busy, and then I just skip. I'll eat later. I'll eat later.
She's trying to throw me a hoagie. Yeah. And then comes 6:30, I'm ready to pass out because I haven't eaten in 12 hours, and I had to eat, but we couldn't hardly even get anywhere to eat. Luckily, we got lucky at the Blue Elephant and got a little tiny place upstairs. But so all those restaurants are full. And coming out of COVID, what's more important for the city of Pottstown and the business owners is to be busy.
Right.
You need good days, right? Period. That's all it comes down to is
right.
And I hate to talk about money, but when we've been through a year-long pandemic, business owners need money. They need they have to have great days. Yeah. And that's one of the things we're trying to do is have great days in Pottstown and fuel that through the car club, or the car show, and have fun. The streets were packed, and it wasn't all car people. The car people sit by their cars. Right. And they get out and they walk out and they have something to eat or drink or something, but the streets are lined and walking with local Pottstown people that have walked down to the show and are having a blast. So,
no, it was a block and a half. It's a block and a half from where I live.
Yeah,
I walked down with my girlfriend. My son went down with his girl. My middle son's a mechanic, studying to be a mechanic, studying to be a metal fabricator.
There you go.
So this is right up his alley, loving the scene, checking out the cars. I went one way, he went the other. We're text messing each other back. Did you see this? Did you see that? Hey, I found this 67 GTO, back and forth. It was a great day. It was fun to get out and around. My girlfriend and I wound up going to the alley later on to grab a couple of drinks.
There you go.
And meet up with some other folks. I spent some time talking to Dave Charles, who runs the Strive Initiative in town.
I haven't
Great
seen
guy.
Dave in a while. I love Dave Charles.
And, it was good to see everybody and be out and about.
Yeah, and when it comes to car shows, the Pottstown Car Show here is as unique as it gets. Trust me, most car shows are in a field, right? You pull up, you pull into the field, you line up the cars in the grass.
Yeah, I've been to them. Or they're in like a runway somewhere or a big parking lot
it's
somewhere.
very rare to go to a car show that's in a downtown setting right on Main Street. Our Main Street's High Street. But, it's really unique, and it's also not in the morning. Right, most car shows are first thing in the morning. This is an afternoon going into the evening car show, so it's really, really a unique show. And of course, that brings some challenges in logistics and dealing with it, but that's okay.
Right.
We do it and deal with it and do it the best. And we have a meeting Thursday about lessons learned from Saturday and things we can do better and things that can be tidied up. But it's a really unique car show, and we plan on making it the absolute very best car show on the East Coast. That's our goal.
Cool. And it really goes along with Pottstown's history, especially with the cruising. At one point in time, Pottstown was one of the largest, I think some people had it ranked top 3 cruising strip on the East Coast of the United States.
Yeah.
So now if we can bring that car show back, it'll recapture some of that notoriety that Pottstown had in the car scene.
Absolutely.
The other part of it, too, is I like the fact that, in the morning, I wanted to go down to the Indian powwow.
Oh, yeah.
So with the car show being later on in the evening, it freed up my morning and the afternoon. I went to a couple other events around Pottstown and then finished it off with a walk around my neighborhood looking at some cars and having a drink at the alley and headed home.
There you go.
I didn't really have to go any further than 3 or 4 blocks from my neighborhood, and I had the whole day covered. I was busy from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed.
There you go.
That's great stuff.
Yeah, and hopefully we have events like that throughout the whole year, right? That's what makes a community. People able to get out, see each other, have fun, and enjoy their town. Right.
I'm just going to respond here to a couple of people. Bobby Flam, we're still in the pandemic, so whatever you were doing to keep yourself safe, you need to keep doing that. We've been doing it over for a year now, so people should be pretty aware of what they need to do to keep themselves safe.
Yeah, and just talking about the COVID stuff with the car show. Yeah, so the Borough, we talk with the Borough regularly, and Steve Everett, my partner, coordinates with them. We had to put in a COVID plan of action and, make sure we have the signs up and all that kind of stuff. And then the week of it, the CDC relaxed mask wearing outside for large events. But we try to do everything that we're supposed to do, right, pertaining to COVID. And sometimes it's a gray area because some people don't know what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And then you have other people that don't want to do anything pertaining to it, and there's really nothing I can do about that.
No, you can't control somebody else's behavior.
Right, you can. And the unique thing about the Pottstown Nights Car Show, I hope everyone understands, is it's not a restaurant. Like if, J.J. Radigan's, there's someone standing at the door and says, put your mask on.
Yeah.
This is an open forum car show of 7 city blocks.
Yeah.
I'm first of all, I'm not a police officer. First of all, the police aren't allowed to tell you to wear a mask.
Right.
And certainly as a civilian, which I now consider myself, right?
Right.
I cannot do that as well. So we do everything that we think is
to encourage it
and smart and is aligned with what the borough asks of us, of course, because we want to keep doing this.
Right.
But ultimately, you're going to see people with no masks on because they have that right in life.
That's what they do.
And there's nothing I can do about that.
Right.
So if you're still leery of COVID, then you have to do what you have to do as an American citizen to feel you're safe.
To my point, if wearing the mask when you're out and about makes you feel better, if you're still wearing your mask when you go outside, if that makes you feel better,
of course,
you got to do that.
Right.
Because I think. Quite frankly, I'm tired of the mask wars, right? I'm just tired of it.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, everybody does what they want to do anyway.
Right.
You can try to shame people or bully people or
right.
one way or the other. I don't care if it's for mask or against it.
Right.
At the end of the day, people are going to do what they're going to do.
Right, yeah.
So do what makes you feel safe and feel happy and feel secure.
Yeah.
And like I said, we've now had over a year of practice of this.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and we have several sponsors that are helping us with the car show. Eastwood gave out us a whole ton of boxes of masks to have if people wanted them. So we had them there if people needed them or forgot them or if they needed them to get into a restaurant.
Right.
I forget my mask all the time.
Oh, I do too.
And then I got to run back home.
I've been doing a better job of wearing my neck gaiter because
right,
I don't lose
always
it.
there.
It's always just on.
Yeah, exactly. So with the Eastwood company, who's a huge entity in Pottstown.
In the borough of Pottstown.
They do a lot with us. They're a sponsor of the car show with us, and they're kind of great friends. Mm-hmm. They're an incredible company, and they help us in many endeavors here in town with car stuff. And
so you're getting some shout outs. Susie Marcucci Kennedy, who lives in the neighborhood, she's also our literary liaison to the show.
Oh, okay.
It was a beautiful evening to be walking around town. The car owners take such pride in their vehicles.
Yes.
Bobby Flam on YouTube is throwing out the old cruising strip.
Yeah.
I will say this, if you're really an old school cruiser, you know that the whole strip went from Hilltop in Sanatoga to the Treat in Stowe.
Right.
Mike Murphy, we know Mike Murphy from Veterans Island Project, Red Horse Rocks. He was here talking to us earlier before the show.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to talking to him again a little bit after the show.
An interesting to talk about is the cruising versus parking.
Yes.
Right? And probably if there's some car people on watching, and I don't know if they are, but if they are, it's funny because like last year we had to flex, right?
Yeah.
With the borough. So we said, look, let's see what we can do. What's happened week to week. It's changing because of COVID. And several of the shows last year, we did cruising, literally.
Yes,
cruising.
I remember this.
We
so
didn't
people were in their cars
driving, right? And we promoted you could pull over, wear your mask, run in, get something to eat, and keep cruising, whatever. And we didn't do the barricades. But it's so funny because like now people are starting to get to know me down there and would run up to me, and if I have the barricades up and we do the traditional, let's call it the traditional car show where everybody's parked.
Yes.
Inevitably, I have people coming up to me going, "Why aren't we cruising?" And then if I do the cruise, inevitably people come up to me and go,
"Why are we parked?
Why do I have to cruise? Why aren't we parked?" I want to relax. I'm like, "Oh, I can't win," right? So I will tell people this from this point on, and we've talked about several things about cruising because I love them both. First of all, there's benefits to both, right?
Sure.
Who doesn't love cruising around in a car, right?
Right.
The 6 dates that we have that are permitted in Pottstown are staying the way they are.
Okay.
So the first Saturday of the month is going to be the car show, just like what was held Saturday.
Gotcha.
It will be barriers. You'll pull in, you park.
And that's smart, too, because then people can count on it. They can put it on their schedule. It's reliable. They know what's going to come down the pike, right?
Exactly. So they will stay as is. What we've talked about is just, and I don't have any rights to this or, what we talked about is maybe promoting doing a cruise the third Saturday of the month in Pottstown in the summer months.
Gotcha.
And not shutting any streets. You have to obey the law. The street lights are working.
Right.
But come on down to Pottstown on the third Saturday of the month and go cruising. And we're still talking about that, whether we should start promoting that. And we want to talk to Barrow and say, is that okay? Do you think that's all right if we just promoted people coming down the cruise?
Right.
Aside from the normal car show?
In the past, there was some attempts to try to work things out with the cruiser community. You know what I mean? There was I remember at one point in time when I was a kid, McDonald's had a little parking lot next to them.
Right.
And they started this club where you could buy a ticket or a card, and that allowed you to park in the parking lot.
Right.
There's always been these attempts, but nothing ever serious. And I think the other part of it too was in years past there had been a disconnect between the cruisers and the business community.
Okay.
When I was a kid, High Street shuttered its doors at 5:00.
Right.
And there was not very many businesses, with maybe the exception of like McDonald's and Taco Bell, the fast food places that were even open. I remember even Pep Boys. when Pep Boys was on High Street, they'd close.
Right.
And you had
no sense.
hundreds of cars going up and down in front of Pep Boys.
Right.
Pep Boys was closed.
Right.
So I think the way you guys are doing it now, trying to build those bridges between the business community and the cruising and the car show, that's the way to go. Because I think that was the key component that was missing prior to this.
Right. And we've worked hard at that.
Right.
Working with the restaurants and other entities, we still are struggling to have the kind of just normal shops, retail shops open, and staying open till 8:30ish.
Right.
And I hope that they do. I'm seeing more and more staying open. All the restaurants are staying open now, which is fantastic, and we love it. And that's part of the lure of creating a great event is people want to say, hey, I love eating at that one place. Let's go down, let's park. We can walk down there, get a great meal, come back, walk the streets.
It becomes a destination location.
Exactly.
It becomes a whole evening out, or for instance, in my case, last Saturday, a whole day out on the town with things to do.
So I'm hoping that the rest of the retail stores start to see the value in it and staying open, because there's thousands and thousands of people standing
it's a captive audience
right outside your door, and they're looking for something to do and something to check out.
Right.
But we're getting there. It's been great. I think the first one was a smashing success, and hopefully the rest of the season will go just like last Saturday.
I wish you the best of luck. I mean, selfishly, I like doing things in my own neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
The least I have to start up my car. You saw that big beast I drive around. The less I can drive that. Yeah. I'm helping my pocketbook. I'm helping the planet, the whole 9 yards. So I want to be able to walk to stuff in my neighborhood.
Yeah, and when we started with the car show, we got the permit like 2 years ago, I think. I think this is the third season maybe that we're doing it. We always wanted it free to everyone, so we got rid of entry fees and all that stuff. And I don't want it like the traditional car shows. I don't want you to have to register. I don't want you to have to pay anything. I just want people to be able to think, hey, I can cruise in, have fun, leave when I want, kind of feel, and that's the kind of atmosphere we want to build. And I think that helps because obviously it's bringing in a lot more people, and people are appreciating it. And that bleeds out to all the other businesses.
Absolutely.
No question. I'd love to be able to, talking about the Veterans Island project.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about that because I think we've covered what you're doing for business in Pottstown pretty well. If people can't wrap their head around that, there's not much more we can do. We've led them to the water.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what you're doing for the nonprofit community and how you're helping out, for instance, Veterans Island.
Yeah, so let me first say I am nothing compared to some of the people that are watching and the charity work that they've been doing. And Murph, I think he's in here somewhere. He's somewhere around.
Hopefully watching on his phone
lurking
upstairs.
around some door here. But the guys like Murph and the other team, their team that does the Veterans Island projects are incredible, and they spend so much of their time trying to help others and keep that place looking fabulous, and it's an amazing place. So I'm not that person, they're tenfold what I am for the charity world, but anytime that any members bring anything to us with charity, and we're 100%, especially military, of course. I did 30 years, and I understand the need in some realms of post-military service for charity, and I'm in on everything. We were going to align ourselves with I like the Wounded Warrior Project, of course, and we were going to align ourselves with that with the car show. But I think we're going to align ourselves with more organizations like the Veterans Island Project, because
local.
Let's stay local, right? We're building this car show for this community. If we ask for donations or whatever we're going to do in the future, there'll never be an entry fee or anything, but we've talked about, well, maybe we'll do a donation somehow digitally or something. But it's gotta benefit our town and our community.
Yeah, we want to. I think whether you're a business or a nonprofit, the idea is to keep those dollars local, to keep them within the borough of Pottstown as much as possible, because it's those local dollars that are going to aid the revitalization first, right? These businesses are owned by sometimes people. I can name at least 2 different businesses that I'm aware of that I go to. They're owned by people that live right here in the borough. We talked about one with Wheels in Motion, Nick Yanessa, right? Lives in the borough of Pottstown, owns a business in the borough of Pottstown. he's got to be thrilled that thousands of car people are coming into High Street
Right
and
there.
might see his shop
Exactly.
and start becoming customers,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I saw that the beads store was open,
Yep.
and the Applegates live here in the borough of Pottstown.
Yep.
So the more we can support them and
Yep.
put some money in their pocket, those dollars stay in the community
Yep.
one way, shape, or form. Same
Exactly.
thing with you're saying with the nonprofits.
Yeah, exactly.
You team up with a nonprofit like the Veterans Island, people make that donation, and it stays here, it stays in our town, and helps the community.
Yep.
I liked what you did, and maybe you want to explain this because I know we have some new watchers. We did talk about it when Mike was here. You had that photo contest.
Oh, yeah.
The drive-in
Yeah.
photo booth. You
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
tell people that was going on?
Yeah, so like I think we're going to do it again. So we was through 3 weeks ago. I think we did.
Yeah, it's about that, right.
A digital car show here at Red Horse, and you registered online, and we had Jerry Kiefer, who's an amazing photographer, and he's a member here, and you got to see his stuff. It's out of control. Check it out on like Instagram or something. Jerry Kiefer Photography, but. So what we did is you can drive through this building, you open up the different garage doors, and we lined them up, and they had time slots. So you'd register online,
Yeah.
and then you'd drive in, park your car over there, and Jerry would get this amazing shot of your car inside, and then he does these light enhancement and all this wacky
Yeah,
digital
sure.
stuff. that
Like
I have
Photoshop.
No clue
Yes.
what he's doing, but the end product is stunning. So a portion went to Veterans Island, and then a portion went to Jerry.
Okay.
For his work for that day. But it was really cool because still in COVID and nothing, well, things were being lifted, but it wasn't where we're at now. Even every day it seems to be getting better. But then we were going to have a big kind of a blowout car show and to support their efforts. But then we came up with that, it's kind of more online, digital.
Right.
You don't have to get
a
out
little
of your car
more,
if you
yeah,
don't want
people were a
to.
little more spaced out. It's a little bit
Spaced out.
safer,
Yeah,
right?
it was a lot safer. It was very spaced out in here, and but still, people are getting out with their cars,
Right.
having fun,
Right.
and supporting a cause that's worthy.
Yeah.
So neat stuff. And there's been so much positive feedback from that day. I think we're going to do another one soon.
Okay.
Because now that a lot of other car guys have seen it and went, whoa, where'd you get that picture? So I think we're going to book one again. And again, the Veterans Island will benefit from it, and guys will be able to come out and have fun.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We're coming down here to the bottom of the show, believe it or not. This
Oh, boy.
hour flies
Is it?
by, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it does,
Yeah,
doesn't
we're
it?
down at we're down at 52. Normally, I would get into some news and events. However, Amy Wolf, my co-host, our news and events person, is under the weather. There goes the Heverleys.
Hey,
Members here.
members here. What's up,
Operation.
Heverly?
What are you? You're not Operation Backpack anymore. What are you now? Operation 413. 143. All right.
Hey,
Another nonprofit to support in the community.
that's right. We're live. The Heverleys are in the house.
The Heverleys are in the house. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff that goes on down here, right?
Yeah.
We're sitting here having a conversation. Your neighbors walk in, people you know. I know the Heverleys from sports. Paul and I coached soccer together. Our sons played soccer together.
Yep.
You've got a good neighborhood feel. So, what I was saying was our news and events is a little bit down and out because Amy was sick. So Chuck and I are just going to finish out having this conversation, and we'll get off the air here in a couple of minutes. I just wanted to go back through the comments and make sure that I got anything.
Yeah.
If you have any last-minute questions or comments for Chuck or I, let us know. I also want to do some plugs for the show. Remember, Porchcast Pottstown, we're your local news, updates, and conversation for Pottstown and the surrounding communities. If you like what you heard here tonight on the show, remember to hit that like button, share the show to your news feed or your group so that you can get the word out about what's going on in Pottstown. We're trying to flood social media with positive outlook and positive vibes about the things that are happening in Pottstown, because there is so much happening in Pottstown that's positive.
Yep.
And one of the things that I really like, and I think we covered it really well here on the show, is we've got the neighbors working with the businesses, working with the nonprofits, and everybody together is doing something to move the ball forward here in the borough of Pottstown.
Absolutely.
It's more positive stuff happening than I can remember, and I've lived in this town for 36 years.
Wow, awesome.
So it's great to be able to have so much to talk about and so much to do.
Yeah.
So again, in that regard, if you want to help us get the word out about Pottstown, hit like, hit share. On YouTube, you can hit the subscribe button. Don't forget that you can also put comments in the comment box on YouTube as well. The more comments the show get, the more Facebook and YouTube wants to show the show. Mary Deary is saying she's been in touch with Michael Jacobs for a few cars to come out for the Pottstown class of 2021 Senior Car Parade.
There you go.
That's going to be May 24th at 6 p.m. May 24th at 6 p.m. is going to be the Pottstown class of 2021 Senior Car Parade. Right. I'm going to need to make note of that because I have a graduating senior.
All right.
So Mary is doing a great job from the comfort of her living room, filling in for Amy, putting some events up. If anybody else has a couple of events to put into the comments section, please do so. I know that Kathy Skitko was watching the show. She always has a bunch of events. If you put those up in the comments, I'll make sure that they get out. It's really been a good conversation. It's flowed along nicely. I think we've covered a lot of territory. I just want people to know one more time, what is it? It's the first Thursday of every month, or
the member social, of course, if you'd like to come in and meet us and see us, is the first Thursday of the month.
First Thursday of the month.
At 7:30, the social starts. And come on in, meet us, and we'll introduce you and have some fun with us. The next car show is June 5th. The 24th, I'm going to check out what that is, and maybe we'll get some of these rides out there and have some fun.
Okay. Basically, the senior car parade is they line out a route that basically goes around the borough of Pottstown.
Okay.
The seniors in their cars line up and go around. And, the neighbors come out or the families come out and wave at the kids. And they beep and do the whole thing. It's basically a cruise.
Okay.
It's an old school Pottstown cruise around. So, Mary Deary, you're getting some help here from Red Horse Motor Club. So, you're on Facebook. What's your Facebook page? Your personal page.
Oh, my personal.
You're Wayne, right?
Yeah, I am Wayne, yeah.
You're Wayne Harders.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
So, Mary, you can reach out to Wayne Harders on Facebook or message Red Horse Motoring Club and in order to hook up with Chuck, and you guys can work something out. That's one of the purposes of the show. We set the show up so that we could network at a time when most avenues of networking were shut down to us. So, so here it is. She's reminding me. It's basically a cruise from elementary school to elementary school because Pottstown still has the neighborhood elementaries.
Okay.
So what the seniors do is they cruise around and go to each one of their elementary schools that they came from.
All right, I'm in.
And people take pictures and line the streets and show up in the parking lots, the whole 9 yards. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Let's see. Amy Wolf, from the comfort of her living room, is saying the Alt House Arboretum has a native plant sale on Saturday at 9. We talk about the Arboretum on a regular basis. It's a great place to go take a walk. They have trails there, and the plants and the trees are all labeled. So if you're trying to get into native plant identification, you take a little walk through there, and it shows you what's native, the name of the plant, the whole 9 yards. It's a great place. They're doing a lot of good stuff for the community and for the ecology at Alt House Arboretum. Native plant sale, Saturday at 9 o'clock. Well, listen, it's the top of the hour, 6 o'clock. It's time for us
We're
to
done.
go. Yeah. Mother's Day runs, brunch, tea, dinner, Friday. Oh, Nathan Lab from Colebrookdale Railroad is saying Mother's Day runs. They're doing a brunch, a tea, and a dinner run. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the weekend of Mother's Day. That's our friend Nathan Lab at Colebrookdale Railroad. See, now everybody wants to get something in. Darlene Bainbridge, go forth. Merch sale at Redner's on Sunday. Last minute gift ideas for mom. Go get her some go forth merch.
There you go.
And support. Mike Murphy is saying he's looking for the volunteers for the cleanup at Memorial Island. They want to get down there and get that cleaned up prior to the Go Forth Festival and prior to the summer time. Is that right, sir? They'll be able to, if, what's that? Oh, yes, in preparation for Memorial Day. If you're interested in getting hooked up with Mike Murphy and the Veterans Island Project, you can private message him right here on Facebook. He's in the comments of the show, Michael Murphy. He's involved with Veterans Island Project. Heather Moyer Daly. Pride, Pottstown Pride, that's the after-school program at the middle school, is having a, hold on, you're hitting me with a lot of stuff here. They're having a makerspace program is coming to the school this year, and they got new 3D printers for the kids to learn how to become makers. Pottstown Middle School students. That's one more thing that the Pride program offers. Whole list of after school activities to keep the kids in the middle school engaged and enriched.
There you go.
It's a great program. And one of our watchers, Heather Daly, runs it.
There you go.
So we do have a lot of contributors here at the show. Listen, we've been on for an hour. My voice is getting tired. Mike Murphy's looking at me. I know he's going to buy me a beer. So I'm going to break down this table and go have a beer with my new buddy, Mike Murphy. Listen, I am Matt Green. I am your local real estate expert. Please call me if you need help selling or buying residential and commercial real estate. I've been talking with Chuck Harders from Red Horse Motoring Club. Check them out on Facebook, on the web, on Instagram, at Red Horse Motoring. Thanks for having me. It's been a great show.
Yeah, man, it's been awesome. Thank you so much. And thanks for everybody for tuning in. And come on by Red Horse and have some fun with us.
There you go. We're going to be back on the air on Thursday. Hopefully my lovely co-host or my lovely host will be back with us on Thursday. We're going to be talking to Matt Moyer about the new mural that has been installed at Rupert Elementary School. So tune in at 5 on Thursday. We're going to be over at Rupert Elementary talking to our favorite Pottstown principal, Matt Moyer. All right. We are Porchcast. Let's talk soon.